Okay. Solving absolute value equations. We're on page 58. And who remembers what absolute value even is? These are the symbols. They're those long bars on either side of the expression. And then I'm going to call this the absolute value of x. So what does that mean, like absolute value of x? John?
It's how many places is away from the 0?
Okay, so in this expression, the absolute value of x, this means how far is x from 0? How far is x from 0? That's what we're asking for when we put those absolute value signs. Now, the word how far, or the phrase how far, is referring to distance. Can a distance ever be negative? What do you think?
No.
Cross-country people, you ran either 2 miles during practice or negative 2 miles. What does that mean to anyone?
You could skip the day of running. Would that be?
No.
Would that count as negative?
We never.
That's kind of
We never have a negative.
like if you take like a football and it goes backwards, like
Negative 2 yards?
yeah.
When we say negative 2 yards, we're referring to 2 yards the other way, right? So usually you want to go this way. You know, in my case, I want to go this way. But if I go that way, I'm really just traveling this direction, 2 yards, 10 yards, whatever. But yeah, you don't say negative 2 miles. You say 2 miles north or 2 miles south, something like that. So can the absolute value of any number ever be negative? The answer to that is no. So here, the absolute value of 3. What's the absolute value of 3? How far is 3 from 0 on a number line? 3. Nice and straightforward. What's the absolute value of negative 4? Well, how far is negative 4 from 0? 4. Positive 4. Now, close, yeah. How many of you are okay with that? These two statements, this is review. This is like, yes, hopefully you know it. What happens if I do this? Don't write that down because that might confuse your notes. What happens when I do this, though? What's my answer? Or does it change or it's still positive? Yep.
Wouldn't it be negative 4 because it's the opposite of the distance of negative 4 to 0?
Yeah, what's the opposite of the absolute value of negative 4? Well, what's the absolute value of negative 4? 4, what's the opposite of that? Negative 4. So that does change that value. You'll get that later, not today's lesson. Well, you will have problems that have that idea. But we understand these, I hope. How far is the number from 0? Now, let me give you a simple equation here, see if you guys can figure it out. The absolute value of x is equal to 6. I want you to tell me what x equals. Tell me what x equals. Michael?
It can equal 2 things.
What?
X. Oh, no, X. It can equal 6 or negative 6.
You mean x can equal 6 or negative 6? You mean two different oh. Wait. How do you know if my solutions are true in any equation? Plug them in. So let's check 6. What's the absolute value of 6? Check. That works. This is an answer. What's the absolute value of negative 6? Also 6. So yes, this does work. So how many solutions are there to that one equation? 2. In fact, we're getting into, later on this year, a lot of equations where you have not one answer, but 2. Can you have 3? It's possible to have 3 answers to an equation, but not today. Not 3 today, so don't worry. Brush that off. 2 is the maximum amount. Let's work at this problem here. Can someone read that for me real quick? This is more of what you're going to be doing today. Peter?
The absolute value of t minus 42 equals 18.
Good, very nice. The absolute value of t minus 42 equals 18. Now, to me, that sounds kind of like random, like, great, they just put some numbers and now we have some values. Can someone read for me the top of page 58, excuse me? And this will give you context of this problem. Like, where do we get these numbers? Murphy, read that first paragraph, the late night.
The late night news reported that today's temperature varied 18 degrees from the mid-morning reading of 42 degrees. What were the day's possible maximum and minimum temperatures?
Okay, so they're saying from 42 degrees, you had a variance of 18 above that or 18 below that. And what they're asking for, what are the maximum highs and minimum lows? So that's what you're asking. By the way, with absolute value, we're talking about ranges. So is there a range that your body temperature can work in or survive in? Is there a range of temperatures? Yeah, we have, Callie, right? She's not feeling well. So for her normal body temperature, it's not always 98.6. It's not always that, but it's around that. Her body temperature goes up and it gets into fever territory. Then it gets into, let's monitor this because this is dangerous. I'm not saying her specifically, but any of us, if it gets too high, it can get deadly. Or if you have your normal body temperature and it goes down, there's only a certain amount of down you can go before you get into critical territory. So doesn't our body have a range of temperatures that it can work in? Okay? The amount of salt in your body, there's a range you can work with, which is healthy. Temperature that you can be in outside, that varies. The amount of water in your body, that varies. So many variances, absolute value deals with that. Okay? And this is one of them with temperature in this report. So here, this is what I'm going to have you guys do. Whenever you have an absolute value equation, you always want to get the absolute value quantity all by itself on one side or the other. All by itself. So look at this side, the left. Is there anything other than the absolute value quantity? On the left side, anything else? No, there's nothing else. Once you get to that point, now you can set up your two equations. You have two equations in this problem. Yes, ma'am?
I was just going to say.
Oh, let me give them to you and then I'll have you guys give me more. The first equation is 2 minus 42 equals 18. From this absolute value equation, you got this workable equation. You must get the workable. You can't work this out until you break it down to this. Or, first of all, tell me what I did here from the original to the one I wrote down. What did I do? Just notice some differences. Yep.
You did the absolute value.
Drop the absolute values out. That's all I did. You guys okay with that? You do that. The second equation, somebody tell me what I did. From the original. So from here and the original, what did I do? Notice the differences. Yep.
You made the 18 a negative.
Not only did I drop the absolute value signs, I made the 18, which was on the other side, the opposite of 18, which is what? Negative 18. I have two equations. Let's solve them. Maybe some of you are like, why? Great question. We'll answer that in just a moment. How? I think you guys can get that soon. What? I think you can solve both of these. Can anyone solve this for me? Do you have a question?
Yeah, I have
Go
a
ahead.
question. So you know how parentheses and the absolute value signs are like those
Symbols of inclusion. Yep.
Yeah, can we use the distributive property with absolute value signs?
There are occasions, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But I wouldn't. Don't do it. Don't do it because it gets really messy, especially with positive negatives.
Wait, I solved it two different ways.
Oh.
Two different answers.
From these two? Okay. Can you solve this one? Tell me what I do.
Okay, so I added 42.
All right. So good. Both sides. This is familiar, guys. This is a one-step equation. T equals 60. All right. Before I get to the next one, is T really equal to 60? Well, how do I know if it is or not? Okay, what's 60 minus 42? What's the absolute value of 18? So this is a solution. That works. It plugs in, so it works. Marissa, solve the second one.
Okay, so I added 42 each side.
Oh, that's nice.
And just had 36. Sorry.
Okay, so you had to do 42 minus 18, and you get 24, because you have opposite signs. 24. But 24 can't be the answer too, can it?
Yeah.
What's 24 minus 42? Negative 18. What's the absolute value of negative 18? T equals 24 is correct. And so is T equals 60. They're both correct. Yes, ma'am?
I'm confused how you could still change the answer, the 18 to negative 18.
The equation? Uh-huh.
Because it changes change the whole problem? Allowed?
Good question. All right, so we got this. This is given. But from this given, because we're using absolute value signs, we know that there could be two answers. Just like in that previous problem, how many answers were here? Two of them. Even when you get more complicated, you have two answers. So how do you get those two answers? The first one, just drop the absolute value signs, work that out.
So if it says that you always want us to get two answers with absolute values, we always change that 18 thing on the answer to negative.
Yep, get the opposite of that. Opposite of that, yep. Yes, always do that, you'll always be good. Okay, let's do another one because this takes practice. You'll get used to it with practice. Yes, ma'am?
I have a question. You did the same thing on both sides.
On both problems? Yeah, that's what's nice about it. You're doing the same thing. You added 42 on both sides, added 42 on both sides, but you had 18 plus 42, and you had negative 18 plus 42. So that gives you two different answers, but they're both correct.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's okay, that's okay. Oh, I didn't want that. All right, look at this equation, write that down. My first question, or my first step on these problems. Do I have absolute value signs?
Yes.
Okay, is it an absolute value equation? Yes, because it has absolute values and it's an equation. Is the absolute value quantity all by itself? No. What's with it? Okay, good. Times 2. I'm not going to split this up into its two equations until I get rid of that times 2. How do you get rid of multiplication by 2? What? Yeah, I'm going to divide both sides by 2. Both sides by 2. Am I allowed to divide both sides by 2? Why, Jensen? Because of the equality. Divide both sides by 2. The division property of equality, right? Can I divide both sides by 2? Yeah, I'm allowed to do it. But what happens with these two then? Cancel out, and then what do I get there? So I really get this. Absolute value of x plus 9 equals positive 7. Okay, is the absolute value quantity all by itself? Good. Now I split it up into its two. Who can give me the first one? Who thinks, I think I can give you the first one. What's the first equation you can work with? This is not a workable equation. You can't just deal with it right there. Yes, Davis?
X plus 9 equals 7.
All I had to do is drop the absolute values. Just drop them. That's one equation right there. How do I get that second equation? I think Wyatt knows, Sarah knows, Jensen, Caroline.
X plus 9 equals negative 7.
Yep, x plus 9 equals negative 7. Can you guys solve both of those? Okay. Matt, how do I solve this left equation? Good, from both sides. I get x equals, what's 7 minus 9? Good, negative 2. Is that a solution?
Yes.
Really? How do you know that? All right, what's original equation right here? Original equation. What's negative 2 plus 9? 7. What's the absolute value of 7? 7 times 2? That works. Okay, I'm taking that as an answer. Peter, solve the second equation.
So you want to get x by itself, so you would do minus 9 on both sides.
Very nice. Minus 9 on both sides. You get x equals?
Would that be 16?
Negative 16. All right, but does negative 16 really work? What's negative 16 plus 9?
7.
Negative 7. What's the absolute value of negative 7? 7. 7 times 2? Yay, that works too. So do two answers actually work? Yeah, and you found them out by the algorithm we use. Yes?
Do we have to do both ways on them?
Yes, you got to give. And the reason why you had to give me both ways, because maybe you're like, wait, what about one or the other? When I ask you for a solution, I want every solution for any problem that I give you. And in this case, there's two. Yes?
I did the distributive property to get negative 2. Would there be a way to use the distributive property to get negative 16?
Oh, like, what do you mean by the distributive part?
2x plus 18 equals 14, and we subtracted 18 from both sides.
And then you got this right here?
Yes.
And then did you do it for that one?
No, I didn't know how you do distributive.
That's the survey probably works with the positive version, and the negative version can be a little tricky. So I don't go distributed product. I go here, then I have no distribution, and I just work it out. Yep.
So if you put like 2 times the opposite of x plus 9, would you only get one answer?
Plus the opposite of x plus 9?
Like,
So negative x minus 9?
Like the opposite of the absolute value of x.
Yeah, I think because these absolute values are special, you're going to get maybe one of them right, but not both, all the time. Yep.
So anytime you have a number being multiplied like with the absolute value, you want it to be gone, so you just divide by.
Yeah, you undo it by dividing in this case. Yep. Yeah, it's almost like this, guys, if you're paying attention. It's almost like you're trying to just solve for this first. Like, I just want to get this by itself. So what's happening to it first? It's being multiplied, so I divide both sides by 2. So it's almost like you're solving two equations. Wait, you are solving 2 equations. Yeah, so that's what it is. Okay. How many of you are good with this? Like, you're like, I think I can do this, Mr. Ray. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 is the number. Since you said I can do it, so let's prove it. You may begin.
Wait, do we need 9 people to get it?
11 of you to get it right. No, just 11. Whew, I don't have to get it right then. Well, let's hope that's the case. So this one is 8 times the absolute value of p minus 5 minus 4 equals 20. I'm going to give you a hint. Is the absolute value of p minus 5 all by itself? No. So you have to get it by itself first, which means you're almost solving for it first. Once you have your answers, you may raise your hand and you may be counted as one of the 11 who must get it. You're good? Okay. Oh my. You need to get all the answers possible. Yes, ma'am? I would add 4 first, because what's happening to this? It's being multiplied, then subtracted, so add, then divide. These answers?
Yes.
Okay, so, sorry, I'm going to come by. Here we go. I think I forgot that. Okay, good. 1, 2, 3.
Did you get one?
Yep.
I think I did something wrong because I was trying to divide and then divide 1.
Oh, sorry, this one. Where are your answers?
I haven't finished because I
Oh.
was dividing. And
Yeah,
then I was against that, and then I was dividing again.
So what's happening to p minus 5? It's being multiplied and subtracted. You deal with this first. Add 4 to both sides, then divide by 4. That's all right. What am I at, 4 or 5? 4. 4. 5. What are the numbers? 6. That's one of them. There's another one. Oh, no, you'd be right. This. So you see how you dropped them? So the other one's right here. I don't know what I'm at. 6.
I know it.
Okay.
Mr. Ray, do you divide?
I add 4 first.
You add 4, okay.
7.
That's wrong.
8.
Would you subtract 4 to both sides?
Add 4 to both sides. Because what undoes subtraction of 4? Addition of 4. 8, I think.
Tell me why you divided by 2, like, just so I hear your explanation.
I don't know, I just like the same
Okay, so that would be that's reasonable, but the reason we divided both sides by 2 is because it was being multiplied by 2. So that undid each. Technically, but before you do that, I had to get rid of that. So add 4 to both sides, then divide by 8. Then work it out. I need 2 answers. What are your 2 answers?
This one, I just literally got the same thing.
Because I don't think you changed the sign. Maybe negative 20. I'm at 8. What's this?
Don't you divide by 16 by 8 and you get negative 2? Then its absolute value is 2.
Okay, let me look at this. This is good. Then you divide by 8. So that's one of them. So you got your 8.
Yeah.
But then the second equation should be p minus 5 equals negative 3. Oh my.
He has his chair wrong. He does too.
Excuse me. Thank you, Nick.
No problem.
Yeah, guys, it's for your own safety. It's not because I don't like that, or I actually do enjoy that myself.
Oh, wait. Oh, never
Just
mind.
ask her, she'll give you a
9. I need 2 more.
I got it.
10. This one's what's negative 20? Your first step on these problems is to get this by itself. So you first add 4 to both sides, then divide by 8, and then you'll still get that answer, but it won't give you the other answer very well. So I'll show you guys what to do. Ooh. So close. Got an answer? Sorry, point it out to me. Okay, that's one of them. There's another one. Matt, do you have an answer?
You're going to talk to
You have one of them. Okay, this is what you do. We got to 10, maybe 11. So we'll see. All right, listen up carefully, guys. Is my absolute value, is it all by itself? No. So before I start splitting it off into 2, I first have to get this by itself. So it's being multiplied by 8 and subtracted with 4. What do I deal with first? Caroline? Add 4 to both sides.
What determines what?
You just ask what's happening to it in order. So what's happening? What would you have to do to this first? And then, that'll determine your next step. All right, what do I do next then? It's still not by itself. Davis? So I get the absolute value of p minus 5 is equal to 3. So this is where you should have gotten that. Then you split it off into 2. You don't split it off up here into 2. The first one you'll get is p minus 5 equals 3. And the second one you'll get is p minus 5 equals... So I'm giving arrows so you know where I'm going. Negative 3. And those are the 2 equations you solve by doing the same thing. P equals 8. Some of you got that without splitting it up, but remember, you won't get both of them. Plus 5. P equals positive 2. 2 and 8. Did you get that, Rachel? Did anyone else get that didn't count as my... You got it, Caroline, or you have a question? So we had 10. Okay.
Michael got it, and then didn't count as
Yes, ma'am.
I thought you were supposed to not take your answer from the first one. I didn't know you were supposed to take your answer from the first one and make it negative. I thought you were supposed to take the whole thing.
This whole thing?
Yeah, and then I made the negative, the 20 negative in the second problem.
So here's what I want to clarify. That's totally natural. Listen up, because I don't want any of you making the same mistake the second time. Some of you aren't even listening. You're not going to get this. It's going to pass right by. Your first step on these problems is to get that by itself. That's your first step. And you don't change anything, don't change any signs on anything until you get that by itself. So that's how I got the plus 4 and divide by 8. Once you get it by yourself, then you can get the positive version and the negative version of it.
What if you end up negative? Then you get the.
Then you'll get the positive version. You get the opposite of it. Begin. I need 15 of you to get it right, since this is almost the same exact problem we just did. And you're like, Mr. A, but I don't know what to do. I just explained it. But I wasn't listening. Okay, well then that's a different situation. 15 of you have to get it, and I'm giving you a 3-minute limit because we can't take too much time. 3-minute limit. Well, let's wait a little bit. But don't pick it anymore because I'm waiting. All right, no sharing answers, and if you don't get it right the first time, I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4. Five, 6, 7, 8.
I know what I did. I thought that was a 1.
Mm-hmm. So be careful. Make them clear for yourself. 9, 10. I need 5 more. Only 5 more.
I was checking. I thought it was something.
11, 12. Sorry, where are they? That one's right. That one's off by a little. So check that. Yeah, check that second one I pointed to. 11. Anyone else? Anyone?
No, wait, the second one was right. Just right there.
1 minute. 1 minute. Which ones are they? No, sorry.
For the negative one? For the next one?
This one's 1. That one's not.
So, I got one of them. What do you do? Like, how do you set up the next one?
So you got y minus 2 equals 5, and then y minus 2 equals negative 5.
I got it wrong, so can I still like?
You can do it. I hope you get it right. Yeah. 10 seconds. 12.
Come on, guys. You can do it.
Okay. Who hasn't been up on the board this year? Has not. Has not.
I have.
Caroline? Work it out.
Well, you know what?
I'm always surprised that students want to work out problems. Imagine that. Who would have thought that? They want to work them out.
It makes class better when you're like interactive.
Ah.
Yeah, lying is bad.
Yeah, Caroline. That's bad. You lied. You should report on
I've
that.
never been.
You lied.
Oh my gosh, I'm not lying. Oh, I'm gonna be another page.
Don't get another page. Sorry.
Ooh.
No, because there's something on there's a surprise for you guys on the next page.
It's another problem.
Yeah.
All right, y equals 7 is one of them. Y minus 2 equals negative 5 is the second equation. And then y equals negative 3 is the second. And they go back and forth. Okay, good job, Caroline. Those are the correct answers. Very good work, very clear. But what happens if, as you're working out a problem, you get answers and they feel right,
But they are wrong.
but they're not? Go ahead and get it. So what do you do with your feelings on math? How do you handle those?
Cry.
With joy, because you understand what to do here. All right. There will be tears shed. I don't know what kind. No, next period. Sorry, not this period. Yep. All right, this one I'll work it out a little bit behind what you're doing. Hopefully you subtract the 20 first, because you want to get the absolute value by itself. And then you get 0. Right? 20 minus 20 is 0. Not nothing, and not 1, but 0. You get 2 equations. Right? Got it. And I'm going to do the next one even quicker. That's okay, it's the same thing.
No, you can't do -0.
Okay, what a good question. You can do positive 0 or negative 0. What do they both mean? 0. So don't you work it out? Same thing? What's your one answer? One answer. Are there any other answers? No. All right, so this is what I put up on the board for you guys. So far, we've gotten possible answers being, you guys listening back there?
Michael isn't.
2, I should put 2 solutions. I'm going to make that clear. 2 solutions. That could be one of your possible answers. You can have 1 solution, what you just did. And you can have something else.
No solution.
Begin. Actually, what is that? Okay. That's not what I wrote. I think it's from the other class. So let me clarify this one. Oh, no, you can't do it, but it's... I think they rewrote something.
Oh, that's number 4.
That's the problem right there. That's the problem. So it wasn't negative y, it's just positive y. And how many do we have in here? This is my... Wait, we have 18? Someone, I think you guys had... Oh, no, you do have 18. All right, 18 of you need to get it correct. And you have 3 minutes. Point to it, please. Okay, no. 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 I would be. No. No.
I told you.
Wait, you never saw mine.
It doesn't work.
Do you have 2 answers? No. Yes? No.
No, it's not. There's no way it can work.
What?
There's no solution.
No.
There's no solution.
1.
Yay!
No. Oh, 2.
Oh wait.
What?
3. No. Where's it? No.
Oh, you're a meanie copier.
No.
I got it. No, James, you already checked it once.
I already checked it out. Sorry.
But I didn't because I was smart and I put it in the box.
3, I think. 4. I can see from here. No. I can see it from here. 5, I guess, on that. 6. Oh, let me see from here. 7.
No, it doesn't. When you said check it in the box, it doesn't. Yes, I just did.
Okay, listen carefully. I'll see if you got it right here. I'll see if you got it right. All right, here I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides. I get my y plus 2 is absolute value of that, -6. I get my 2 equations. So that's the first one. And the second one is the opposite of that, which is positive 6. So here I subtract 2 from both sides. Y equals negative 8. That's 1, maybe. Subtract 2 from both sides to get y equals 4. That's 1, maybe. All right, and you're like, I got the same thing, but did you check it? Negative 8. Negative 8 plus 2. Negative 6. What's the absolute value of negative 6? 6 plus 7 does not equal 1. That can't be it. Positive 4. What's 4 plus 2? 6. Absolute value of 6 plus 7. No solution is your answer. The third possible solution or answer you can get. I heard one of you say that this was an easy review lesson, and it was. You should have known this answer because of what? There's one hint in the problem that tells you, yeah, that totally makes sense. Anybody? I'll point it out to you. Ready? It's not here. Not here. Right here. Nick?
The negative 6.
What about it?
Oh, I got it. Usually a positive and turns to a negative, but it's a negative.
Okay, give me a little more meat to that. It's true, you're right. We've only had positives, so now what's going on here? Jensen?
Because you can't have an absolute value with a negative value.
Can you ever have any value here that's going to be equal to a negative number? Nope. That's impossible. That's your answer.
Wait, so now, if we do these problems on the homework, we have to check it every time?
I would check it, yeah, because that happens. So, Mr. A, you're so cruel. You make us check answers. You know why I make you check answers? Because sometimes you get 2 solutions. Sometimes you get 1 solution. And even at times you get... You don't know right away necessarily. You may not know. You may forget this fact right here. But you can check those like you always do. I hope you always do. Yes, sir. Dave. You could have an answer. Yeah. Because again, you check them. Does it work? Great. Doesn't. And actually, let me give you that, David. So let's say you had a negative sign here. When you get to this step, if you still have that, you have to get rid of the negative sign. Does anyone know how to get rid of this negative sign? You know why I'm going through this, Davis? Because I saw one on your homework. So would it be nice to know? I don't think so. I think we should not pay attention. No, pay attention. Eyes up here. How do I get rid of that?
Make the y negative?
You make 6 a positive.
What if, okay, you guys are kind of getting there, but can you give me something?
Make both sides positive?
Okay, why can you make both sides positive? Yeah, you can.
If you do something to one side, you can do it to the other side.
What can you do to one side?
Divide it by -1.
Divide both sides by -1, or multiply both sides by -1, then you get this. Then you're allowed to do it. Oh my. Good luck on that. Oh my. I don't mind if you don't understand something, but I do mind if you're sitting there, you're not even looking. Mr. A, how'd you do that problem? You mean the one I did on the board? Yeah, that one. You need to listen. Homework. 2 to 30 even. You can start on that now. You have... 0. Not quite. 2 minutes. So just get maybe 1 problem, maybe 3 problems done. But write this down, please.